See, in the last practical, we have finished with the practical on analysis of truss, right? And like in the previous lecture, we have started with the analysis of beam in a lecture. Okay, we have calculated the values of displacements and reactions for the beam analytically in the last lecture. Okay, so in today's lecture, we are going to practice the same problem, that is analysis of beam, but we are going to perform that practical on ANSYS, right? So in the last lecture, we have solved same problem which I'm presenting now by analytical method, that is by concept of EMI, and for now we are going to solve that problem in ANSYS, right? So you can see this problem. Okay, what do you have? You have this beam, right? You have this beam, okay, which is fixed at one end, right? This beam is fixed at one end, okay, and it is provided with the roller support at other end, okay. So at a distance, this the total length of the beam is 50 meter. At a distance 5 meter from the fixed end, they have applied 20 kilonewton load. Okay, this entire beam, it is made up of a structure or made up of a material with value of E as 200 gigapascal and value of I as 24 into 10 raised to power minus 6 meter raised to power 4. Okay, so this is the value of E and I is given, right? Now see, now this problem we need to solve in ANSYS, right? So what is a very basic step? Okay, in FEA, okay, is the discretization, right? So very basic step in FEA is the discretization. That means you are supposed to divide this entire problem or this entire domain, okay, into number of subdomains, so there are certain criteria for discretization. Okay, so first criteria is change in cross section. The first criteria will be change in cross section. So if you see here, the single value of I is given, okay, that means single value of moment of inertia is given. So obviously it will have same cross section. It will be having same cross section throughout the length of 10 meter. Okay. So on this criteria, based on this criteria, you are not able to discretize it. Second criteria is change in material, right? So if you see a single value of E is given, that means for his entire beam, the material is same. That is with the value of E as 200 gigapascal. Okay, so this based on these two criteria, like change in cross section and change in material, you are not able to discretize it, right? So the third criteria is the point where they applied the load. At that point, you form the node. Okay, so at this point they applied the load. So when I bring this point vertically down, I will get this point and I will call this point as a node. As a result of formation of this node, I am getting overall 3 nodes: node number 1, node number 2, node number 3. Okay, and I'm getting 2 elements, each of 5 meter, right? So this has been already told you, okay, during this analytical calculations which we have done in the lecture, right? Now after this, once you form the elements, you number the node, right? You need to assign the coordinates to every node, right? You need to assign the coordinates to every node, right? So okay, so if you consider this node 1 as a reference node with the coordinate as 0, 0, then location of node 2 will be obviously 5, 0, and location of node 3 will be 10, 0, right? 10, 0, right? So let's start here, right? Let's start here. So we will start this problem by using ANSYS, right? So just open this mechanical EPDL product launcher 16.2. I'll just open that, right? So you'll come across this screen, right? This is a screen, right? So here basically this stimulation environment, it's ANSYS only, right? Then the license which we have this academic license, right? Then working directory. Okay, I need to save my work in this particular folder, right? that is FEA practical TME1. So I just browse that folder. Okay, and the name of my practical is analysis, right? Analysis of beam, right? Right. Name of the practical is analysis of beam, right? So that I reach on, right? I just click on run. I'll just click on run. You can see here. I'll just click on run here. I'll just click on run. Right? I'm going to click on run. Okay, so obviously you're going to land on the interface of ANSYS APDL, right? I'll just maximize this. I'll just maximize this, right? Okay, so as I told you initially, okay, you're supposed to make this screen with the white background. So I'll go to plot controls, style, I'll go to color, right? And I will click on reverse video, right? I will go to style. In plot control, I will go to style, color, and reverse video, right? So when I will click it, I will get this white screen, right? So now I will start it now. So in between, you just keep on clicking the option of save DB, right? You just keep on clicking the option of save DB, right? Now tell me, all of you, how to start. How you will start? Let me know how you will start. This is I think 6 practical which we are doing, right? So all of you should be able to tell me, right? We need to go to what preferences, right? Then I will go to structural, right? Because this problem belongs to structural, because I'm interested in getting the values of displacements, reactions, those value I need. So I'll click on structural, right? Then I will click on OK. I will click on OK, right? So tell me what is the next step?
Real constant.
Real constant. You will directly go to real constant. Okay, that means you will directly go to real constant without defining the element type. So very basic step is to define the element type. Okay, when you define the element type, then only you will be able to add the material for that element which you have selected. So go to this add, edit, delete. I will go to add, edit, delete. I will go to add, right? Then I have this beam element, right? So for my beam element, for every element which I am having 2 nodes. So I will select this 2 node 188, 2 node 188. For every element of my problem, I have 2 nodes. And for my entire problem, I have 3 nodes. Okay, but here we are talking only about elements. So for every element, I am having 2 nodes. I will select this 2 node 188, right? So I will click on OK. Okay, so this beam 188 is selected. Now I will close. I'll just close that. Right? Now I will just minimize it. Right? Now, so next step will be, okay, as I told you, you need to go for real constant, right? Now see, the element which you selected, it's a beam element, that is beam 188. Okay, so here there is no provision to enter the value of cross section for real constant, right? You are not able to enter the value of cross-sectional area, okay, in real constant. If you want to do, you just do that. Real constant, add, edit, delete, go to add, go to OK, you will receive one message, right? This beam 188, it is not supporting the real constant, right? So though you try to enter, it will not allow you to enter the value of real constant in case of an beam 188. Okay, because when the problem belongs to beam, okay, simply moment, you see, area, cross-sectional area, you need to replace by moment of inertia, right? And moment of inertia will again depends upon section, right? So we are going to enter the value of section for the beam. So automatically the moment of inertia will be calculated, right? So I need to skip this step of real constant, right? I need to skip this step of real constant, right? So what I will do is, after that, I will go to material props, right? I will go to material props, right? So after material props, right, I need to define the material, right? So for that, I should know the properties of material. See here. So the properties of material, I have a material with value of E as 200 gigapascal. This is the value I have, right? So what I will do here is, right? So I will go to material models, right? Obviously, I have a single material. So this is material model number 1, right? I will go to structural. I will have a linear material with elastic and isotropic, right? With elastic and isotropic behavior, right? So value of E is, as I told you, 200 gigapascal, that is 200 E9, 200 E9, and Poisson's ratio is 0.3, right? Poisson's ratio is 0.3. Okay, so I will just say okay. See, 200 gigapascal is 200 E9. E9, meaning of E9 is into 10 raised to power 9. Okay, into 10 raised to power 9. And Poisson ratio is 0.3, right? So I'll just say okay. Okay, and I will just close this window. I will just close this window, right? Now I'm finished with the material properties, so I'll minimize that. Okay, next thing is I need to go for section. See here, you remember, when it doesn't enter real constant, okay, it is mandatory to enter the section. Okay, it is mandatory to enter the section. So you go to sections, right? You go to sections, right? Now I have the problem of beam, right? Because for beam only I'm entering the sections. So I'll go to beam. I'll go to beam, right? I will go to common section because I need to go for common section. So before that, before you click on the common section, okay, you need to determine, okay, what is the diameter or what is the length, what is the breadth, what is the height that you're supposed to determine. Okay. Now see, if you see here direct value of I is given, direct moment of inertia is given, right? So we need to do some reverse work. Okay, basically what happens is, based on value of B and H, I is calculated. Try to understand. Based on the value of B and H, which is given in the problem, moment of inertia I is automatically calculated, right? Right. If you give the value of B and H, okay, the moment of inertia I is automatically gets calculated. But in this problem, I is given. I is given. So for that particular I, we need to define the value of B and H, right? So see, what is the basic formula for I? It is B raised to power 4 by 12 or H raised to power 4 by 12, right? See, this is the formula for I when you consider that beam, okay, to be a rectangular section, okay, whose section is rectangular, right? That is see, you try to understand the formula. The formula is BH cube by 12. Okay, what is the basic formula? If you want to write down, okay, I will write down here. See, the formula for I is BH cube by 12. BH cube by 12, right? If it is rectangular cross section, but see here, B is not given or H is not given. So out of B, see, out of B and H, if B is given, you can calculate H, or if H is given, if you can calculate B. See, if you're not able to get it, okay, let me annotate something. Okay, see here. So formula for this I, see, what is the formula for I? See, I will write down. Formula for I is nothing but, let me write down. Formula for I is given by I is equal to, right, B, okay, B, I will write down small b, okay, into H, that is cube, H cube, right? So I need to write down BH cube, okay, BH cube by 12, right? BH cube by 12. Try to understand. What is the formula? It's BH cube by 12. Okay, so formula for this one is, formula for I is BH cube by 12, or you can have HB cube by 12, like that. Okay, so if you use this formula, BH cube by 12, okay, and if you need to calculate B, you should know H, or if you need to calculate H, you should know B. Okay, so none of the value is given, either B or H, none of the value is given. So in that case, what we need to do is, that case, what we are supposed to do is, we are supposed to assume it as a square cross section. Okay, we are assuming it as a square cross section. That means that means B is equal to H. Okay, so as value is not given, what we'll do is we will assume B is equal to H. Try to understand. We will assume that B is equal to H. Is it okay or not? Let me know. We will assume that B is equal to H. Understood or not? Let me know. Is it understood or not? We'll assume that B is equal to H. Okay. So this becomes a square cross section. So this formula I can rewrite like this: B raised to power 4 by 12 or H raised to power 4 by 12. So if you use this, you will get the value of B or H, okay, as equal to what you'll get. What value of B or H you will get? So B or H you will get it as 0.13. So see, the I is given. Based on I, we have calculated the value of B and H, assuming that it's a square cross section, as neither B nor H was given. Neither B nor H was given. Is it okay? Is it okay or not? Let me know. Let me know. Is it okay or not? Let me know. Is it okay or not? Is it okay to each of you?
Yes, sir.
Is it okay? Right. So what we'll do in the beam, we'll go to common sections. So see, you'll get some sort of window like this, right? So here, name it can be whatever you want to write down. I will write down this as a square. Okay, because my cross section is square, I will write down square. Okay, and here I will select this. Okay, see here there is no option of selecting square or a rectangle, right? By default, if you put same value for B and H, if you put same value of B and H, okay, it is understood that it's a square. Okay, so you will not get specifically here rectangle or square, right? So here you'll get some only box like this, so that you can select, right? So here I will enter the value of BH 0.13, 0.13. All right. Similarly, I will enter the value of H here as 0.13. Right. So because my value of B and H is same, I will enter those values. Right. And I will say okay. Right. I will say okay. Okay. So what I done? I just enter the value of B and H. I have entered the value of B and H for the beam. Okay. So he will automatically going to calculate the moment of inertia. Right. So I will just minimize that option of section. Right. So next thing here will be, okay, what is the next thing after the section? It's a modeling, right? It's a modeling. So I'll just go to modeling. Okay, purpose to go for modeling is to initially create the nodes, right? And once you have created the nodes, after that you need to connect those nodes so as to create the element, right? So first step will be to create the nodes. Once you create the nodes, you join those nodes with the help of elements, right? So I need to go for create. I need to go to create. I need to go to nodes, right? I need to go to nodes, okay? And I need to create those nodes in active CS, right? So in active CS. But before you click on inactive CS, okay, you should know the coordinates of every node, right? You should know the coordinates of every node, right? So see, this is the diagram which is given, right? This is the diagram which is given. Now I need to write down the coordinates here, right? So see, that means I need the location of every node. I need the location of every node. So if you want to location of every node, okay, you need to locate that node with respect to some point. Okay, you need to measure the location of every node with respect to some other point, right? So for that, what we will do is we will assume node 1 as a reference node. We will assume node 1 as a reference node. So here I will enter the coordinate as 0, 0, right? I will enter its coordinate for node 1 as 0, 0, right? Now what I will do, if this is 0, 0, can you tell me what is the location of node 2? Can you tell me what is the location of node 2?
0, 5,000.
Huh? Can you tell me what is the location of node 2? It's a 5, 0, right? Yes or no? Is it okay or not? It's a 5,
Yes,
0.
yes, sir.
What is the location of node 3 then? It's a 10, 0.
0.
Is it okay? Is it okay or not? Let me know.
Yes, sir.
Right? So one will be at 0, 0, second will be at 5, 0, and third will be at 10, 0, right? So let's come back to this. Okay. Let's come back to this. Let's come back to our diagram. Okay, so I'll go to in nodes. I'll go to inactive CS. I'll go to inactive CS, right? So for node number 1, I have everything 0, right? Everything 0, right? But here, see, I'm not interested in Y and Z coordinate, right? Because I have all those nodes on the same horizontal line, okay, or on the same horizontal plane. So I will not enter Y and Z as 0. Okay, by default it is 0, right? So I'll click on apply. I will click on apply because I need to create 2 more nodes. So I'll click on apply. Now I will go to node 2. So for node 2, my x coordinate is 5. Y and Z are 0, obviously. Okay. So again, I will click on apply because I need to create third node. So I will click on apply. So now I will select third node. And for third node, this x coordinate is 10. Okay. So now I will say okay. Right. So you can see these 3 nodes have been created. Is it okay? Can you see these 3 nodes which are created?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now see, you just created the nodes, right? But if you want to see whether your nodes have been correctly formed or not, for that, we need to go to list, right? You can see here, you can go to list, okay, which you will get it in a utility menu. Okay, this is list. Okay, what do you want to list? You want to list the nodes, right? Because initially we want to list the nodes. I'll go to nodes, list nodes. Okay, I'll go to list nodes. Okay, so you can see this one, right? Just say okay. So you'll receive some window like this. Okay, where you'll get the coordinate of every node. Can you see those coordinates?
Yes, sir.
See, for node 1 0, node 2 it's 5, node 3 it's 10. So it's looking correct, right? So I'll just close it and I will just move ahead, right? So we have finished with the creating the nodes. So after that, we need to join those nodes. I will join that with the help of elements, right? So I'll go to elements. Now see here. Here there is an option of element attributes. I always used to tell you that whenever you want to connect the elements, okay, when you want to connect the elements or whenever you want to create the elements, initially you set its properties. Now when you come back here into our diagram, you can see here every element, either element number 1 or element number 2, it is of 5 meter, right? Every element, it is of same material and it is with same cross section. Is it okay? Yes or no? So there is nothing to change, okay, for a respective element. Okay, there is nothing to change, right? Though you want to change it here, and if you go here, element attributes, you will get nothing here. See, you're getting single element, right? Then you are getting single cross section, right? So there is nothing to change here, right? Because we have all properties same for both of the element, right? So there is nothing to change. I'll go to auto numbered, right? I will go to through node. So when I click on through node, okay, this window will come, right? So this window is basically asking to pick the 2 nodes, in which you want that element to be connected, right? So what I will do here is initially I will select, see here, node number 1 is not here. It is not showing here. Similarly, how many number of nodes are selected? that is again not showing here. Count is 0, right? So, but when I select here or when I click here, you can see node number 1 I have selected and total 1 nodes I have selected. Total number of nodes which I have selected are 1, right? So now I have selected 1. I will select one more. When I click here, now you can see here node number 2 is selected and total number of 2 nodes are selected. Total 2 number of nodes are selected, right? So I have finished with the selecting node number 1 and 2. Okay, now here I will click on apply. Why I will click on apply is because I want the element 2 with the same properties as element number 1, right? So I'm not going to click on OK, because when I click on OK, it will finish, right? So when I will click on apply, so this element is created and still this window is here, right? Now again I need to repeat what I done for element number 1, right? So here again no node number is selected, there is no count is 0. Now I will select here. When I select here, node number 2 is selected, but only 1 node is selected, right? So now again I will click on node number 3. So node number 3 is selected and total 2 nodes are selected, right? So I will say okay, right? So these are the elements form. Right? If you want to see same like nodes, okay, we can also see for elements, right? For that we need to go for list, go to elements, okay, and here you can see node plus attributes plus layer constant, right? So you can see here. See, for whether it is element number 1 or element number 2, you have same material, you have same element, that is beam 188. Okay, you have same cross section, that is 1 Okay, you have same section, that is 1 right? Now element number 1, it is between 1 2. Element number 2, it is between 2 3. Okay, so it's looking correct, right? So now I finished with the elements, right? So next step will be here. What is the next step? Tell me. Can anybody tell me what is the next step? Just see, or just let me come back to this problem. Let me know what is remaining here. Let me know what is remaining here.
Conditions, sir.
See, if you see this problem, see, these nodes we have formed, right? This distance we have taken into consideration while forming the nodes. So for distance, it is over, right? E we have entered in material properties. Value of I we have entered in section. Now what is remaining? It's 20 kilonewton. It is remaining. Similar, this fixed support is remaining and this roller is remaining, right? So this, if you see this 20, see, until and unless you make it fixed and you're going to provide the roller here, you're not able to apply the force, right? You're not able to apply the force. So initially you're supposed to make it fixed. Okay, so what is the meaning of this fixed? Okay, that means, see, what is the meaning of this fixed? That means node 1. Okay, this fixed support, it is nothing but node 1. Okay, so that means what? Node 1 cannot move in any direction. Node 1 cannot move in any direction. That means displacement at node 1 is 0. Displacement at node 1 is 0, right? So I need to go to loads, because in the loads only I will get the option of displacement, right? Go to loads, go to define the loads, right? Now I'll go to apply. I'll go to structural. Right? So before applying the force, I need to apply the displacement, right? I'll go to displacement. Okay, obviously I need to apply the displacement on nodes. I'll go to on nodes. Okay, now I need to select node 1. I have selected node 1 because at node 1 it is fixed. At node 1 is fixed. That means node 1 cannot move in any direction. So I selected node 1. Now I will say okay. So when I say okay, you will get this window. Okay, so in this window you are supposed to apply that boundary condition. Okay, so node 1 cannot move in any direction. That means all degrees of freedom at node 1 are set to 0 value. Are set to which value? 0 value. See here, displacement value is 0. So at node 1, all degrees of freedom are set to 0. Is it okay? Is it okay or not? Let me know.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So I will click on apply. Why I'm clicking on apply? Because I need to apply one more boundary condition at node 3 where you are provided with roller, right? So I will click on apply. I will click on apply. So I'm getting this window again, right? Now I need to select node 3. I have selected node 3. So when I select node 3, you can see here node number 3 is selected, right? Node number 3 is selected. Okay, and one node is selected. One node is selected, right? So I will say okay, right? Okay, now see here. When I say okay, again it will ask me. So which degrees of freedom you need to constrain, right? Which degrees of freedom you need to constrain. Now it's a roller, right? It's a roller. So roller, if you see that roller can only move in X direction. It can't move in Y direction, right? That roller cannot move in Y direction. Okay. So before clicking on UI, okay, that means you need to constrain in Y direction. So you should select this UI. Okay, but before that, you should deselect this all degree of freedom. Otherwise, what happens? This all degree of freedom is again selected and UI is also selected. So your net effect will be all degrees of freedom are set to 0 again for node 3. Okay, that we won't want, right? So what I will do, I will deselect it. So just click on it. So this gets deselected. Now I will select UI. And UI I will set again to 0 value, right? Because it's a roller, it can't move in vertical direction. So I will say okay, because I need to finish it. So if you see here, you're getting multiple triangles, okay, which indicates that the node 1 is constrained in all directions. But if you go to node 3, you're getting a single vertical triangle, which indicates that node 3 is constrained in vertical direction, right? So I'll just minimize the displacement, right? So once I minimize the displacement, see I applied the displacements. So now I need to apply the forces. I need to apply the forces, right? So how I'll do that? I need to go for force or moment, right? I will go to on nodes. Obviously, I need to apply at node 2, na? So I will need to select node on nodes. Okay, now this window is coming, right? It again basically asks to pick the node where you want the force to apply, where you want to apply the force, right? So what I will do is I will select this node 2. I will select the node 2, right? Now I will say okay. Okay, see here, when you click it here, node number is going to appear here and number of nodes which you have selected is going to appear here, right? So now I say okay. Okay, now see, if you see here, direction of force it is asking. Okay, here it is given as fx, but I have the force in y direction. So I will apply fy, right? Fy. And this, listen, whatever the force you are applying, it's a constant value, right? And what value of that force you have? That is 20 kilonewton, but that is going down. So I will write down minus 20,000. Minus 20,000 I will write down. Is it okay? Is it okay? Let me know. Is it okay or not?
Yes,
Is it
sir.
okay with this one or not? Right? So I'll say okay because I need to finish it. I have a single force. So I say just say okay because I'm supposed to finish it, right? Now I will minimize this force or movement. I'll minimize the force or movement. I will minimize structural, apply, right? Define the loads. I'll go to loads, right? Now see here. Let me clear you, right? So see, if you apply some wrong force, right? If you apply some force in a wrong manner at some node, right? So see, all of you, in define the loads, you have the option to delete that force, right? You have the option to delete that force. Okay. Just a minute, just a minute. Here it's a power loss. Just a minute. Just a minute. Here is a power loss. Just a minute. Internet. Is it audible? Is it audible to each of you?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now see, if you form or if you applied some wrong force, okay, you just click the option of delete. Okay, you can select this structural, right? You can select the structural, right? And if you applied the wrong force, select the force or moment, select that force or moment, right? And if you applied that on a nodes, you select on nodes, and on whichever node you applied that wrong force, just select that node and just say okay. So it will just delete that force, right? It will delete that force. Is it okay? Now in the similar manner, right? This is with the force. Similarly, if you applied some wrong displacement, okay, at some point you doesn't want to make the displacement 0, but somehow you make it. So that also you can do by going to displacement, because you are inside the option delete, right? Is it okay? Right? So we have finished with the loads now. Now next step will be the solution, because we need to solve that problem, right? So I'll go to solution. I will go to solve. I will click on current ls. Okay. So when I click on current ls, I will say okay. So you'll receive a message that solution is done. Okay. So we'll just close that. Because the problem has been solved, right? So now see, the problem is solved. Now what you want, you want to get the answers, right? You need to just pick the answers. Okay, so for that we need to go for general postproc. Right? Then see here, initially we want to just see the result. We are not interested in some numerical value initially, right? So we'll go to plot results. I'll go to plot the results, right? I'll go to this deform shape. I'll just go to this deform shape. Now whichever you want, you can do that, right? Initially, if you select this deform shape only, okay, it will show only the deform shape. Okay, that is a shape after the application of load. Okay, if you see the select deform plus undeform, okay, it will show both the things, that initial shape before the application of load and final shape after the application of load, right? Similarly, if you select deform plus, if you select deform plus underage, okay, and if you say okay, again it is going to show the diagram for deform plus underage, right? So this is the diagram. This is basically the 1D diagram. We are interested in this 3D diagram, right? So, but if you want to capture the image of this 1D diagram, you can do that. You can go to plot control, click on capture the image. So image will be captured, right? And this image you can save it, okay, by going to file and save as. Wherever you want, you can save that, right? Wherever you want, you can save that, right? So now, as I told you, in between, you just keep on clicking the option of save DB, right? So your work will be saved. Now let's go to plot the 3D shape. So I'll go to plot control, style, size and shape, right? Now here I have this display of element. I just tick it, right? So it becomes on, and now I will say okay. So this is the diagram which I'm getting, right? I'll just see this isometric. Okay, initial diagram and this final diagram after the application of load. This is the diagram which I'm getting, right? Now, see, if I go to counter plot, right? See, this is the diagram, but it is not showing the intensity of the displacement, right? In terms of whether it is less or whether it is high. So for that, I need to go to counter plot. I'll go to nodal solution, right? Nodal solution. I'll go to DOP solution. Initially we were here, right? Okay, we are supposed to determine this DOP solution, right? So here we can select this. In degree of freedom, you can select this displacement vector sum, right? Similarly, you can say okay, right? We will say okay. So when you say okay, you will get some diagram like this, right? You will get some diagram like this. So it will show you, okay, if you see this front view, here you can see, okay, wherever you have this blue region, okay, there you have minimum displacement, right? There you have minimum displacement or zero displacement. And displacement, it is increasing from blue to red region, right? Blue to red region. So wherever you have red region, there you have maximum displacement. So here you can see, you applied the force, okay, in the region at a distance 5 meters from the fixed end. So if you can see here you're getting maximum displacement where you applied the force. So point where you are applied the force, at that point you are getting maximum displacement, right? So this is for displacement, right? Similarly, we can do it for rotation. Similarly, we can do it for rotation because you have movement also, right? You have movement also. So same sort of diagram you will get for movement. You will get it for movement, right? You can see here. So movement, blue. So the region where you have a blue region, okay, you have minimum minimum movement, that is zero. That is rotation basically. You can see here nodal solution, rotation. Okay, that means angular. See, in the problem of beam there are two displacement. One is linear displacement and second is angular displacement, right? If you go to nodal solution here and if you see this displacement vector sum, it will give you the value of linear displacement in y direction. If you want to be more specific, you go to this y displacement, y component of displacement. So it will show you the displacement in y direction more specifically, right? But if you go here in nodal solution, okay, you have displacement in y direction as well as rotation about z axis. So you need to select this z component of rotation. So when you select it, you will get the diagram like this, right? So you can also capture the image for this one. Go to plot control and just capture the image, right? Plot control and capture. So capture it, right? So you can capture. So this is all about plotting the results. Now we need to get the answers, right? So for that, we need to go to list results. Okay, we need to go for nodal solution because see here in plot results also, we have gone to nodal solution, right? In plot results also,